Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Seth Meyers joked about last week's Foxx town hall, during which Donald Trump criticized George Stephanopoulos, said his interview with President Biden was the softest interview I've ever seen. Seth said, "You're going to say that while you're being interviewed by Sean Hannity? I ask tougher questions when John Oliver's here." Trump told Hannity that he couldn't imagine anyone in New Hampshire voting for Joe Biden. Seth said, "Yeah, I can't imagine anyone in New Hampshire voting for Biden. You know why? Because he's not on the ballot anymore." I made an executive decision yesterday. I did part 1 of Vulture's Comedians to Watch list. I'm going to do part 2 next Sunday, so we'll do a normal episode today. A lot of news as September continues to be busy. The New York Comedy Festival and the Bob Woodruff Foundation announced the lineup for their annual Stand Up for Heroes benefit. This year it's on November 11th. Your lineup, it's, both a really good lineup and somehow feels like a step down from past years. But here's the lineup: Jim Gaffigan, Nora Jones, Mark Norman, Questlove, Patty Scalfa, Jerry Seinfeld, Bruce Springsteen, Jon Stewart, and more. So if I just take the headliners there, it's, Springsteen, Jon Stewart, Gaffigan, and Seinfeld, with Mark Norman batting 5th. So Johnny Mac, I don't know what the heck you want these people to put out there, but I don't know. It just seems like there were more people on the list in previous years. I might be making that up, but Gaffigan, Nora Jones, Mark Norman, pretty good list. We'll keep an eye on that one. The Daily Mail reports a scary scene transpired during Chris D'Elia's stand-up show. A man sitting in the front row seemingly suffered a seizure. As the report goes, instead of stopping the show, Chris continued with the show by reacting to the situation. Chris did a 13-minute bit where he ranted about what he had just witnessed and a question and answer session about the man's condition. So apparently the man's head slowly began to fall as the seizure started. He fell forward and then backward in his chair. Someone next to him caught him. D'Elia stopped the show to ask if he was okay. After a few moments, when it appeared the man was all right, Chris D'Elia asked, "You right, bro?" "F yeah, a round of applause for a guy who almost died." "You all right? You all good? Is that something that happens?" The man confirmed he was okay. D'Elia then realized that the man was not okay and began to seize again. Chris said, No, he's not okay. "We should call in an ambulance, somebody." A couple guys then carry the man away from the seating area to give him medical attention. Chris D'Elia says, "A round of applause. Let's do the show. Let's walk with him." And then transitions back to comedy and jokes. "Whoa, that's crazy. I guess that Pride Month bit really hit him hard." That's when a fan yelled out, "Too soon." Chris said, "Too soon? It happened now during the comedy show. What do you mean too soon? What am I supposed to do? A monologue from a Tennessee Williams play? It's a comedy club. This stuff happened in the front row. It didn't happen back there. You guys are like, be cool, dude. Well, F you, dude. You know how hard this stuff is right now? The guy almost died." Whitney Cummings spoke to the Dallas Observer. She has often talked about the bedroom in her comedy, and now that she's a mom, she says there's a whole new world of topics she wants to share with her audiences, and if that means there's less sex chat in the mix, that's fine with her. Whitney says, "I've spent so much time talking about dating and sex, which was surprising at the time, but now that's all you see on the internet. The most shocking thing you could be is a little wholesome and talk about things that are more simple observations. My goal is for people to sit in a theater of 200 people and we all laugh at the same things. Comedy is supposed to be a unifying thing. I took a while to have a kid, and I'm glad it took a while. They called it geriatric pregnancy, which is insane, but I think having a kid older is better. I think my brain just started functioning properly. Like if I had a baby 1 year sooner, I'd probably have sold it for tickets to Taylor Swift." Taylor Swift's name comes up a lot in this podcast. The way it changes you is pretty magical, and I do think about how it changed me and how it's changed the way I see the world. The thing is, as a comedian, you're always looking for a way to turn something on its head to show people something that they see every day and take for granted. It took a long time to make sure I was breaking these ancestral cycles. If my child is born a comedian, I failed. When you have a kid, all this stuff comes back, like putting him in the high chair. My high chair was basically scaffolding. I drank out of the hose until I was 14. There are pictures of me in drawers as a baby. We're all doing a little better than we think, and it's part of a comic's job to make people leave with a little perspective and context. I get that phones are bad for kids, but we played on seesaws, and it's a miracle that any of us survived. I was trying to strap my baby in the back of the car, and I had a flashback of being in the back of a pickup truck with a lawn chair. Jim Jefferies gets the cover of Rolling Stone, but it's the cover of Rolling Stone Australia and New Zealand. Doesn't mean it's lesser. I'm just telling you, you might not be able to buy it in Los Angeles. Who knows? Maybe you can. Maybe there's an international newsstand with New Zealand Rolling Stone. I don't know. Why did I fall into this hole? Move on. Jim Jefferies said, "My mother was a hard person to grow up with. She was a very hard woman. She was physically and verbally very abusive. So sometimes I imagine I've had a chip on my shoulder about women." Jim says, I'm very interested in doing as many different things as entertainment as possible. I like a challenge. I like doing something new. I don't know if there's a stand-up comic from Australia who's had a more diverse career. You know what I mean? I think of myself like an entertainer more than a comedian. Jay Pharoah has announced a new special. This one will be on YouTube on September 22nd. He also released a trailer. I pulled the audio from the trailer, but it's too quickly edited and a lot of bleeps where the swear words go. It just wasn't going to make sense for the podcast. In his new hour, and I haven't seen a title for it yet, Jay Pharoah rips the lid off pop culture, talks about his suburban upbringing and a run-in with the law, taped at the Den Theater in Chicago. My former coworker Jamie Foxx is getting ready to hit the comedy stage. He'll be in Atlanta October 3rd through Sunday, October 5th. It is called One More Chance, an evening with Jamie Foxx. In an Instagram post, Foxx posted an image of a black box featuring the words, "What had happened was..." Then the logline, join us for an unforgettable one-man show as Jamie Foxx takes the stage to share his journey through a serious health scare filled with humor, heart, and inspiration. Experience Jamie Foxx like never before in this intimate and engaging performance as he opens up about his struggles, triumphs, and everything in between. Get ready for a night of laughter, reflection, and genuine connection. I'm curious to see what he says here. I spent some time inside that camp, and I personally found it very surprising that nobody was able to just get a picture of, Jamie sitting poolside looking cool, giving a thumbs up. It was very interesting to me that there was nothing for a while. I hope he's doing okay. He's a good guy. And I've done this next story already, but I took a second look at it and I have some comments. I told you, Jermaine Fowler will join Tracy Morgan on the comedy series Crutch. Now, let's break this down again. I didn't pay enough attention the first time. That's on me. Okay. Tracy Morgan plays Crutch, a brash yet beloved Harlem shop owner whose world is turned upside down when his highbrow son and free-spirited daughter move back into the family home. Okay, so we've got an old curmudgeon-y guy whose hippie daughter moves home with her Ivy League husband. Isn't that just all in the family? From Late Nighter, this one caught me by surprise. Sarah Sherman did 2 days on General Hospital? What? Sure. She played Miss Robin Finch. Apparently, her character criticized Olivia for the way she pronounces croissant. Finch introduces herself as a dialect theorist and tutor to the stars, claiming she once coached Meryl Streep's daughters. What? Lois says she never hired a tutor. Tracy confesses that, no, I did hire Miss Finch. Tracy explains, Lois is my employee. Our sales are directly linked to her presentation. I believe that our numbers will improve if Lois's rough edges are smoothed out. Sarah Sherman said, I was so nervous about flubbing my lines because I was surrounded by pros who memorize like 1 billion pages of dialogue a day. Very strange. Dennis Leary, he's got a sitcom, Going Dutch. I've told you about this one. There's no way this is good. Going Dutch follows an arrogant, loudmouth U.S. Army colonel, played by Dennis Leary, who, after an epically unfiltered rant, is reassigned to the Netherlands, where he's punished with a command position at the least important army base in the world. The logline, after serving with distinction in every war zone of the last 3 decades, he now finds himself in charge of a base with no guns, no weapons, and no tactical purpose. Instead, it has a Michelin star-level commissary, top-notch bowling alley, and the best and only fromagerie in the U.S. Army. Surrounded by a diverse group of underdogs, the colonel tries to reinstall military discipline and professionalism with the help of the base's previous interim leader, who just happens to be his estranged daughter. So why am I bringing this back up? Deadline reports Danny Pudi will play the role of XO Major Abraham Shaw, the colonel's executive officer and right-hand man. So I'm just trying to picture this show, right? So it's 67-year-old Dennis Leary playing an army colonel. He's 67. I imagine it's Dennis Leary doing Dennis Leary things. So he's going to do some slow burn about, back in my day, we had guns, man. And then Danny Pudi is going to say something wacky millennial, and then the laugh track's going to play. There's no way that's going to be good. And I like Danny a lot. There's just no way that this show's good. South Park will return in 2025. Trey Parker and Matt Stone has said they don't want to deal with the election. They told Vanity Fair, we tried to do South Park through 4 or 5 presidential elections, and it's such a hard thing to do. It's a mind scramble, and it seems like it takes outsized importance. Trey said, obviously it's important, but it kind of takes over everything. We just have less fun. I don't know what more we could possibly say about Trump. They said not returning until next year's on purpose. They also want to wait for Paramount to figure all their crap out. The last regular episode of South Park Season 26 aired March 29th, 2023. Since then, we've had the amazing South Park Joining the Pandaverse special. That came out October of 2023. Then we got a second special in December of that year, South Park Not Suitable for Children, which parodied oldie fans. And the most recent one, May of this year, South Park, The End of Obesity, made fun of Ozempic. And I'll leave you on this poignant note from Billy Connolly, who said, I used to think about death and about the life I led and would ask myself, how will I be held responsible for it when I come to judgment before God? I don't believe that anymore, although the whole thing's still a mystery to me. Billy is 81. He says he no longer fears the prospect of death, and he's found peace with his Parkinson's diagnosis. He told the Scottish Sun, with something as big as that, you just confront it and stick to the front of it, be with it, and make decisions based on it. And I don't think you've been badly treated, and I don't think you got the bad pick of the straws. It's not like that. You're one of millions. Just behave yourself. Relax. You realize that death isn't the big thing everybody's made it out to be. It's nothing. It's a sudden nothing. Way to leave us on an up note, Johnny Mac. You're welcome. And that's your comedy news for today. See you tomorrow.